Welcome to the Jboy Show, hosted by Jake Crain, the fastest growing sports show in the nation.
I'm Coach Hugh Freeze.
This is Super Bowl champion Brandon Graham.
Hey, this is DJ Shockley, and you're watching.
And thanks for watching the Jboy Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Jboy Show. Very excited, as usual, about today's guest. We're going to help you win the water cooler. The NCAA tournament starts today. I know they were playing games, but let me just say that again, even if it's just for myself. The NCAA tournament, March Madness, starts today. If you're listening to us in the morning before these games kick off, or you're listening to us in the afternoon and you've been watching games and probably playing hooky from work, we appreciate you being here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on our new YouTube channel. It's blowing up, doing a great job. I'm really fortunate to be with the team that I am. Also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, you know where to find us, iHeartRadio. Like I say, I don't care if you're listening to us through a telescope with a ping pong ball on the end of it. I'm just excited you guys are here. But first, before we get started, let me give a shout out to our friends at betonline.ag. The online casino is always open as usual. They've got unbelievable sharps on these March Madness games. They're going to compete with you. They're not playing any games, whether it's props, parlays, single games, overs, unders, in-betweens, teasers, pleasers, and geezers. It doesn't matter. They've got everything at betonline.ag. So head over there right now and tell them Jboy sent you. But excited to welcome a guy that, and I'm not going to put him on the spot, but when I first started the show, he was one of the first guys with a huge following to come on. I'll always have a special place in my heart for him. I love bringing him on. Unbelievable, knowledgeable. That's ESPN's director of college basketball recruiting, former coach at the highest level you can be in college. One of the best guys when it comes down to analysis, Mr. Paul Biancardi, or as I call him, Paulie B. Paulie B, what's up, my friend?
Jake, I'm enjoying this time of the year just like you are. So many games starting tonight. I think we all been waiting for this for the last year, and it's finally here, and it looks like it's going to be a go.
Definitely, and I'm really excited, and you know, it's something I want to jump into that here in a second. But got some big news earlier. We know, and I want to get your opinion on the transfer portal. I'm all for the players and stuff like that, but I don't want it to turn into free agency. I don't want there to be super teams like we've kind of seen a little bit in the NBA. I think it's what keeps the college game pure. Auburn lands Zep Jasper, College of Charleston transfer. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that. And then really how the SEC, you look around, there's a lot of SEC teams that are going to the portal, whether it's to find older guards or find that big man that may be coming up. And we've seen a lot of it already, but just your thoughts on Zep Jasper and this portal situation as a whole.
Well, Jasper is a bucket getter. That's what he does. He scored for the College of Charleston. His shot is a little streaky, but the guy knows how to put the ball in the bucket. He has what I like to say, natural scoring instincts. Mm-hmm. So you bring him in, and the word on the transfer portal is that guys are going to be eligible to play right away. So that's going to be huge for not just Auburn, but all the teams that get transfers coming up. And when you look at Auburn's recruiting class, because you know I got to touch on that just a little
100%.
bit. Come on, 5-star Jabari Smith. This guy is ridiculously talented. He's a better person, better young man than he is talented, and he is really talented. So I'm excited for Auburn. I'm excited for him. I think it's going to be a great fit. Bruce is going to move him around into the post and facing up. This guy's really skilled. He's pushing 6'10". And don't forget about Trey Alexander, the top 100 recruit as well from Oklahoma. So he's got a big who can score. He's got a guard who can score. He's got a transfer right now who can score. So Bruce is probably looking at things saying, you know what? I'm going to be able to put points on the board next year with my pressing style.
It definitely, and it really kind of fits. And you look at the kid, I think he's a really good defender as well. You saw what he did against North Carolina, can always improve. And we've had Jabari Smith on. Me and you did a special breakdown of Jabari Smith Jr. To me, the kid's ceiling is limitless. You look at that length and his ability to not only handle the ball, but to be able to contort his body to hit tough shots at that size, because you can't block it. You really can't block it, especially in college. And you add him with a guy like JT Thor, obviously the possibility of Shareef Cooper coming back, that's still up in the air. A lot of people feel either way about that. I've got a breakdown on that coming up as well. But again, I think you hit it right on the head, Paul, as you typically do. It's a perfect fit. And I keep saying that I think next year in the SEC will be an electric year from a depth standpoint, a ton of young talent. I know teams like Alabama lose some players, but you look at a young guy like Primo, you look at Quinterly coming back, the way that Nate Oates is recruiting, and it's just it's amazing for me to see when the SEC makes its mind up that it wants to be good at something. They typically are on a fast track to being one of the best. But I want to dive into this NCAA tournament. Before I do got to tell everybody, if you're listening to this in the morning, there is still time. Go to the Jboy Bracket Challenge. We've had an unbelievable response. $100 free merch, first place. Second place, $50 merchandise. Third place, a set of steak knives. Fourth place, you're fired. I've used that joke so many times, Paulie, that I can't even. People are probably sick of it, but I think it's hilarious. That's Glenn Ross, if you're not familiar with that. But I want to start. Is there a matchup or two? Because we always look at the 12-5s. We look at the 13-4s. Hell, a few years ago, there was the 16-1. I don't think that's going to happen again, but it finally did. Is there a matchup? Is somebody on upset alert right now? Everybody's talking Georgetown, Colorado. I think low-key the Colorado players are probably pretty pissed off about it, and I think they're going to come out hungry. But is there a sleeper in this tournament that you see right now that could make some noise?
Well, if you're looking for upsets, the one upset I really like a lot is Liberty over Oklahoma State. And I may be the only one in the country who's picking that. It's hard to go against, Cade Cunningham, the number one pick in the draft. But this isn't an NBA draft. This is a college basketball game with a lot of pressure on the line. It's win and advance, lose and go home. And you're going to play against a team that you've never seen before with a style of play that, quite frankly, is really difficult to play against. Richie McKay was an assistant for Tony Bennett at Virginia. Okay, so he brought that same style to Liberty. He's won a ton of games. He's won the conference tournament. He's won the regular season. Oklahoma State's going to see a slow down game against a team that can make threes and play that pack line defense. Oklahoma State's going to have to make 3-point shots. And I'm going to tell you this right now, when the shots don't go and Liberty gets the defensive rebound, they're going to keep you on defense for 20, 30 seconds. It's going to be a hard grind out game for Oklahoma State. And I want to see if they can stay poised during the moments of the game when they struggle to score. That to me is my upset. I know a lot of people have Winthrop over Villanova. I called Winthrop games. I love Winthrop, but Villanova, even though Gillespie's not playing, they're still Villanova, and they still have not just high level talent, but they have a system that can go against Winthrop's fast style of play. This one's funny, Jboy. Winthrop's going to play fast. They'll play North Carolina fast. They'll play Baylor fast. They don't care. They're going to play their style. They're one of the fastest tempo teams in the country. Villanova is actually going to try to control the tempo, slow it down. I think Villanova's half-court defense and rebounding will be the difference.
Without a doubt. And it's funny. And again, you talk about Liberty style. I almost coined the term stall and ball. That's really what it is. And it kind of bleeds you out a little bit. It's almost like a football team with a great running game that really is going to lean on you. And that tends to take its toll in the second half. And you talk about forcing shots, especially if they're not falling early. If Oklahoma State gets frustrated or some of these other teams get frustrated, you can find yourself in a hole against veteran teams that know how to win, that you talk about know how to control the ball. They're not going to turn the ball over. And even if Oklahoma State comes out on a big run, they're not going to panic. They're going to be able to keep themselves in it. And, when I look around at this bracket, a team I was big on, even though they lost in the SEC tournament, you say decently early, is Arkansas. I think it can feed to motivation, but you look at that game in the second round against possibly Texas Tech. And again, I know Utah State is no pushover. I don't want to look past them, but that Arkansas Texas Tech game could be an absolute fist fight. I don't know who's coming out of that, but when you look at the 1 seeds, and I came on with Mike Morgan the other day and have tweeted out that I'd like Georgia Tech to beat Illinois in round 2 before this Moses Wright news came out. That he's not playing, it's going to be if he's not playing in that second round game, if they move past Loyola, which I still think they'll beat Loyola, Kobe Cockburn's going to have his way down there. He's going to have his way with a lot of teams, but a Moses Wrightless Georgia Tech team, I hate it for Coach Passner. I love what Alvarado does on defense. But out of these 1 seeds, a lot of people are going Baylor, Gonzaga. Hell, I'm picking Baylor to win the whole thing. Is there a 1 seed that you see that may have a chance to go out early, or one that maybe a little bit weaker than the rest? I got an idea of who you're going to say, but I'm just interested to see you say it.
Yeah, I don't know if any 1 seed is weaker than another. I think they're all extremely talented. They all have NBA talent on their roster. They've all won at the highest level in their conference. And Gonzaga didn't play in a Power 5 conference, but they went undefeated. And they have 2 or 3 NBA players on their roster. I'm going to say Michigan because of Isaiah Livers.
Yeah. I agree.
You know, he brings them not just experience, but he brings them the outside shot. And Michigan doesn't shoot it nearly as well, you know, without him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Franz Wagner has to do more, and he can do more. They're going to have to play more to Hunter Dickinson inside. I think you're going to see the front court have to carry Michigan. Eli Brooks is that one perimeter player that will have to step up his shooting game. So they're all going to have to shoot a little better, but the strength of this Michigan team is their defense. Livers helps them out as well. So I think without him, Michigan may struggle.
Yeah, I agree. And again, you know, I look at it and Gonzaga with Suggs and Kispert, especially when he's hot. Kispert can get about as hot as anybody from three. I love watching him play. I love watching his leadership. He got a little turned up the other night. It was good to see. Typically, he's more of a quiet leader. But I do, Paul, want to talk about the SEC teams. And out of all the SEC teams that are in, I think Alabama got a good draw. I got Texas beating them in the Sweet 16. I love the way that Sims is playing. I love what Greg Brown does. Coleman is the director of the orchestra. When it comes to them offensively. Shaka's got a lot of experience in the tournament, took that VCU team. But out of all the SEC teams that are in, do you see one, let's say two, that could make a run? Because Alabama obviously has been playing great all year. Nate Oates has that team. They look different defensively. That's been the difference. Everybody talks about the three-pointers and we're going to shoot threes and do layups, but defensively, especially in transition with Herb Jones, I know you like Alabama, but are there some teams other than Alabama that you see from the SEC that can make a run?
Yeah, let me address Alabama first if I can. I have them going to the Final Four. Okay, You could talk about the 3-point shot. Yes, I do. I have a, you know, the Nick Saban Alabama basketball team going to the Final Four. I'm gonna tell you what, Nate Oates has changed it down there. He's brought his own blueprint and he's brought his own style of play. And we can talk about the 3-point shot, and they shoot it well. They're one of the top 3-point shooting teams in this tournament. But to win this tournament, whether you're Gonzaga, Baylor, Texas, your defense has to travel because you can't count on offense. You cannot count on the 3-point shot. You can't count on making your free throws. You don't know if the 2-point shot's going to go in or go out. So to me, Alabama, one of the top 10 teams in this tournament, top 5 team, I believe, when it comes to defensive efficiency. That's talking about defensive field goal percentage, defending the 3-point shot, defensive transition, defensive glass. You know, they do so many things well, and they're so efficient on the defensive end. That's why I have them going to the Final Four, and they get explosive offense. And then they're not afraid to shoot shots when they miss shots. Watch these games when guys start to miss shots or teams start to miss shots. Do they become afraid to shoot the next shot? That tells me the stage is big, and you know, certain guys are ready for it and certain guys are not. You know, Alabama's played that way all season long. They let it fly when they're open. In fact, Nate Oates gets a little disappointed if guys don't shoot it when they're open.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's something too where I always say you got to be able to, like you said, you got to be able to win the rock fights because it's not always going to be going in. You got to be able to win games when the pace may be slowed down. When you got to put together 3 or 4 stops in a row, when you got to stop guys from getting the defensive rebound, or even nowadays, Paul, you've seen it. People score a basket and they're down on the other side of the court in 3-4 seconds. Guys, it is an art form of getting the make, getting out of bounds and throwing the ball in quickly. That's why I think you see sometimes guys stepping over the line or screwing up because they're trying to get rid of it so quickly to get into transition. But when you look at a team, and I've got Virginia Tech beating Florida in the first round, Paul. I know they've had some COVID issues and had to sit a lot of games, but when they've played, they've been, pretty good. And really, when I look around the rest of the league, I mentioned Arkansas. LSU is another team. They can't overlook St. Bonaventure, though. If they're overlooking St. Bonaventure to Michigan, they can take an L. I think that's why they're a 1-point favorite. But do you see a team? Because, again, Cam Thomas, we talked about Zep Jasper being a walking bucket. That kid is a sprinting bucket. He was hitting shots in the SEC tournament from the logo out there. I mean, he's a professional scorer. Defensively, he's got a long way to go. But to me, the difference maker for LSU is Trendon Watford. And it's not just about him playing offense. He went off against Bama. He's 6'9". He can back you down. He's crafty around the rim. He's got to play defense for LSU to win, because they don't have – Darius Days isn't a true big. Hyatt can't get it done, in my opinion, down there against elite guys right now. Just where do you see LSU kind of falling into this after the draw they got?
I think they're going to lose to St. Bonaventure. I think they're going to lose the game.
Yeah.
No, listen, Bonaventure's – a really high-end defensive team in this tournament. They're going to play team defense. See, nobody talks about team defense.
Yeah.
They talk about three-point shooting. They talk about talent, and you need those things. You need NBA talent. You need the ability to shoot the ball from three. You need to be old and experienced. There's a lot of things that go into winning games in the NCAA tournament. And what you do during the regular season right now means absolutely nothing. Yeah. And I've been there, so I can tell you that. And the conference tournament means even less. What you do in those 4 days against your conference foes, that's important then. Doesn't mean anything now. You're playing a different team where LSU players, I don't care what anybody tells me, Will Wade's going to talk till he's blue in the face on how good they are. When they see St. Bonaventure, half of those kids, and it's not their fault, but they sometimes don't even know where St. Bonaventure is because they haven't been exposed to those type of teams during the regular season. I remember when we coached at Boston College, we had Utah State, and guys on our team didn't, they obviously knew they were in Utah, but they didn't know anything about. They didn't know anything about the team. They didn't know any players. And then when they get interviewed, they sound like, well, I don't know anything about those guys. You better know a lot about St. Bonaventure and how they play. LSU, uber talented. If they win the game, it's going to be because they score more points. Mm-hmm. And I don't say that jokingly, meaning that they have to be able to make some breakdown plays, some plays, individual plays. If they go in a grind it out affair against St. Bonaventure, I don't think LSU has that kind of fortitude, just like Oklahoma State, to stay in these tough games with these teams they don't know much about. That a style of play really frustrates them. LSU, super talented. Hey, Cam Thomas, though, he could win the game for LSU. I mean, he is that good. Now, he is the highest draft pick that they have, and he's going to be a lottery pick.
Definitely. And speaking about picks, head over to ebay.com/sneakers today and pick out a pair of sneakers that you want, whether they're old, vintage, again, Chuck Taylors, all the way to Air Force Ones. They got everything. That's ebay.com/sneakers. They have a group full of authenticators. They're going to make sure everything's right. The laces, the tongue, everything about the shoe is going to be exactly what you ordered. No games, no gimmicks, just what you want when you want it. So head over to ebay.com/sneakers today and tell them Jboy sent you. Well, we're here with Paul Biancardi, ESPN National Director of Recruiting, does an unbelievable job there. Analysis, former Division I head coach, understands the game inside and out, and really honored to have him with us here. I always love when he comes on. And as we're wrapping up, Paul, you guys have something coming down the pipe that I love to watch every year. It's the GEICO High School Basketball National Tournament. Can you tell everybody when that starts, where they can find it? Because you guys got 10 teams. I mean, these are the best of the best. If you want to know, and I know how much everybody loves recruiting, if you want to watch top flight basketball in high school with guys that you're going to see in this tournament very soon, Paul, where can they find that? When can they find that? And how can they find it?
Well, first of all, we got 10 of the best teams in the country. They all had to qualify to play in this event. And we have over 30 ESPN ranked players going head to head. And this is for a championship. So we picked the best teams in the country that qualify. Between the 10 teams, we have 30 ranked players in all classes. So if you want to see the stars of college basketball and beyond, this is your event. It's next Wednesday. We start on ESPN3. And then Thursday, we move to ESPNU for a quadruple header, 4 games on Thursday. Then Friday is the semifinals on ESPN2. And then we kick off the championship game, ESPN Saturday at noon. It's going to be so much talent. And I get so excited, Jboy, because I'm looking at what's coming into the college game next year. I'm looking at the high school players that are really good, that are sophomores or juniors. Next year is going to be juniors and seniors. This is high-level talent. And this is our Final Four of high school basketball at the end.
And it's perfect timing. I mean, you get your NCAA March Madness fixture in the weekend, and here comes Paul Biancardi and the boys on Wednesday, dropping all the best high school teams with the best talent. You said 30 ESPN 100 players?
30 ranked players.
Ranked.
So some are in the ESPN 100. Some of them are ranked in the junior class, the ESPN 60, and some are the ESPN 25. We have the number 2 junior in the nation, Jalen Duren. I mean, this guy, he's Chris Webber 2.0.
Yeah, that kid's a witch, 100%.
And yeah, we got Caleb Houston, who's going to Michigan. We have Kennedy Chandler's coming into the SEC in Tennessee. Best point guard in the country. There's talent everywhere. Nolan Hickman, who's playing at Kentucky next year, they could have used him this year. One of the top 25 guards in the country. So this thing is oozing with talent.
Definitely. Well, I'm excited. I'm going to be tuned in. I always am. Always trying to get a step ahead and see what's coming in. And it's always refreshing to see the young guys, even the juniors, like you mentioned, to kind of get an idea of what's coming down the pipe. But my last question for you, Paul, we're here with Paul Biancardi. How crazy is it? And again, it's 1 year, but how crazy is it that we don't have Duke or Kentucky in the field, and Michigan State is having to play UCLA in a play-in game to get in the NCAA tournament? I mean, to me, I think it's the ultimate compliment to college basketball. I really think it's a compliment to college basketball, and good. It's good for college basketball for Duke and North Carolina to be good. That's the best rivalry in basketball, but I think it shows a little bit of parity. I know it's a weird year, but somebody else is going to get their chance to go ahead and get their time, whether it be Gonzaga, whether it be Baylor. Just what do you think about that whole situation? Because it's still wild to me. Sometimes I got to go outside and start looking around and make sure, aliens aren't invading the earth or something.
Well, a couple of things come to mind. Number one is we're going to have a program and a head coach that's never won a national championship before. I really believe that. If you just look at the number one seeds, you got Gonzaga. They've never won one. Mark Few's never won one. You look at Illinois. I believe they've never won a national championship. In 1989, they lost to Michigan. Now, Michigan's won a national championship, but Juwan Howard's never won one. So somebody or some program is going to win there first. The reason why the Dukes and Kentuckys and even Arizona, who's been very strong, a lot of Elite Eights, they're not even in it. Carolina is good. They'll be as good as their backcourt will take them. If they cut down on their turnovers and increase their shooting percentage, don't be surprised to see North Carolina in a Sweet 16. But I don't see them getting past Wisconsin. I really don't. So the reason why those teams are not in the NCAA tournament, in my opinion, when you look at the recruiting, because those schools rely heavily on freshmen. Yep. Number one player in the ESPN 100, Jalen Green, went to the G League, took the $500,000 plus. Number two player in the country, Cade Cunningham. He's going to be the number one pick in the draft, possibly. Goes to Oklahoma State because his brother is on staff at Oklahoma State. So you weren't going to beat that bloodline. Third best player in the country, Evan Mobley. His dad is on staff at USC. USC's in the tournament. So the top three difference makers in college basketball, or two of the three difference makers in college basketball, they went to non-traditional blue blood programs. Yeah. Number four player, okay, Jonathan Kuminga, G League. He took the money. Number five, Jalen Suggs. He's at Gonzaga. They're a number one seed. That makes sense. Scotty Barnes, Florida State. I'm just giving you all the names because when I give you the top six players in the country, you don't hear Arizona. You don't hear North Carolina. You don't hear Duke. You don't hear Kentucky. And even though those schools got really good players and they got five-star talent, there's a difference in five-star talent. There's five-star talent that's going to be good down the road. And then there's five-star talent that's ready to, kick your butt right now. And those schools didn't get them. And that's a big reason why those schools are not in it. And for the ones that are in it, like Carolina and Kansas, they didn't get the ones that are the kick butt now five-star guys. Though Carolina has a couple of front court guys that will kick your butt real hard on the glass.
Definitely. And I really haven't heard it explained like that. I think you're exactly right, Paul. I mean, if you're going to rely on those freshmen, you better get the top guys, like you said, the difference makers. And it's amazing. I guess, just find one of their brothers that's older brother, and hire him on staff. You may have a shot nowadays, but Paul, again, great stuff, man. It's always great when you come on here. Can you tell everybody before we get done where they can find you on social media? We talked about the high school basketball tournament presented by GEICO, which is going to be awesome. But where can everybody find you on social media? You're an unbelievable follow.
Well, I'm on Twitter, and that's where I'm most active at Paul Biancardi. Same on Instagram. I'll be posting from the GEICO Nationals. So if you want information on the best high school players in the country and recruiting, I'll be posting about that all next week as we televise live from Fort Myers, Florida.
Definitely. Well, my friend, thank you so much. I always love having you on. I'm going to ask you to come on again. I always do. I know you're busy, but I also want to thank everybody out there for joining us. You're not going to find this content anywhere else with guests like this. We're going to keep doing it. I hope you're going to enjoy your March Madness. Make sure you hit the jboyshow.com, get the merch, hoodies, hats, masks, if you're into that sort of thing. We got more stuff coming on as well. We can't keep them off the shelf, so you better get there now. And again, just really appreciate you guys checking this out. Hit that subscribe button. It's been another edition of the Jboy Show with Paul Biancardi breaking it down, and Jboy's going, gone.
The Jboy Show is produced by David Cohn, Technical Director Dave Hammock, Creative Director David Culbertson, Audio Engineer Feyzan Shareef, Production Assistants Blaine Crain and Kyle Orr, Executive Producers Jake Crain, Vince Thompson, Steve Chamberlain, and David Cohn. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, thejboyshow.com, for updates regarding our newest apparel and merch designs. Win the water cooler with the Jboy Show.